Denny Strong, 20 years old. Nevin Studinsky, 23. Ricky Odds, 25. Trelona Barkanoviak, 49. Suzanne Fountain, 59. Terry Liker, 51. Officer Eric Talley, 51. Kevin Mahoney, 61. Lynn Murray, 62. Jody Waters, 65.
I knew Denny, I knew Ricky, I knew Terry.
I commend the exceptional bravery of Officer Eric Talley. That's a definition of an American hero.
I wish I could stand here and promise that the pain will heal quickly. It won't.
It doesn't seem real.
You just want to believe that maybe something, maybe by chance, maybe there's some kind of mistake.
This cannot be our new normal. We should be able to feel safe in our grocery stores. We should be able to feel safe in our schools, in our movie theaters, and in our communities.
How many times have we done this? How many more times are we going to? How much longer will our flag fly at half staff? How many more names are we going to read? How many more families are going to learn their loved ones aren't coming home? How many more times are we going to hear the words, "End of watch"? This is the country's second mass shooting in a week. It's Colorado's second in 2 years. We haven't gotten used to it. We refuse to get used to it. This is how we honor the 10 people taken from us on Monday. We mourn them and we fight for them. This is our second day of team coverage on a story we will think about for the rest of our lives. Denver7's Shannon Ogden leads us off from Boulder tonight. Shannon?
Good evening, Ann. Good evening, everybody. I'm right across the street from that King Soopers here on Table Mesa Drive, and the chaos and disbelief of yesterday has given way to the business of justice and the business of mourning those 10 lives lost between 20 and 65 years old. And tonight, all of their families have been officially notified of what happened. We begin our team coverage with Denver7's JACLYN Allen, who spent the day with those families. JACLYN?
I did. Thank you, Shannon. Those families, those friends, they tell me they want today, the story needs to be about their loved ones' lives and also their pain, their anger. But they also do have a lot of questions about the suspect and mostly why? And the reality is the answer to those questions they know will never fill the gaping hole left in their lives.
Calling the hospital.
No, we don't have that patient. 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 No,
all night long.
And we've covered these tragedies before this.
Watching news of the shooting, the Olds family was holding out hope.
13 agonizing hours till 3 a.m. this morning before we got that call that she was gone.
Ricky Olds, a front-end manager at King Soopers, one of the 10 people who died.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
For the aunt and uncle who helped raise their blue-eyed girl, there are 1,000 proud moments, 1,000 tiny memories.
Her saying, "Uncle Bob, McDonald's today," which meant, are we going to McDonald's today?
She's giggly and bubbly and just you couldn't be sad around her. She wasn't having it.
Ricky graduated from Centaurus High School, attended Front Range Community College, worked her way up to management.
I mean, Ricky was a worker. She had to quarantine for COVID. I mean, didn't have it, but had to quarantine and was just like, I got to get back to work.
She knew that essential work was risky during COVID, but never thought the danger would be this.
It's not about him. It's about the people that lost their lives because of him. He's worthless to me.
While her family grieves their loss, they're left with the same questions we all have, and no one has the answers.
Why? Why did you choose that King Soopers? Why did you shoot my niece?
Exactly. Why? I mean, maybe at least we can get an answer to that.
And maybe hopefully we find that out.
Maybe that's the least we deserve.
Hopefully we find.
And for all of these family members I've talked to today, the grief is still so raw, it is still so fresh. But I know from covering from so many of these shootings that pain, it never goes away. And justice is often all people have to keep on going for. Reporting live here in Boulder, JACLYN Allen, Denver7.
Thank you, JACLYN. Yes, and prosecutors have assured us justice will be served. And today they identified the suspect, 21-year-old Ahmad Alisa of Arvada. He's the man you saw yesterday, handcuffed and led to the back of an ambulance by officers whose colleague had just been murdered. Denver7 Chief Investigator Tony KOVALESKI was the first to report crucial information in the case yesterday, and Tony joins us again this evening. Good evening, Tony.
Yeah, good evening, Ann. As we just heard, today a day really to get to know the victims and their families. We still don't know the motive and may not know that for several days, but as far as the gunman is concerned, they took the gloves off today and described him essentially as a cold-blooded killer.
This suspect has been identified as Ahmad Alisa, 21 of Arvada.
Less than 24 hours after the gunman was walked out of that Boulder grocery store in handcuffs, we now know much more.
He has been charged with 10 counts of murder in the first degree.
The arrest warrant affidavit says the gunman purchased the weapon he used in the killing just 6 days before Monday's shooting. It identified the weapon as a Ruger .556 pistol, also described as an assault rifle. The affidavit also says the accused gunman's sister-in-law told officers after the shooting that she had seen him playing with something that looked like a machine gun.
There was an exchange of gunfire, which the suspect was shot.
A review of the 21-year-old gunman's criminal history by Denver7 Investigates found no felonies, no protection orders, but our review did turn up a misdemeanor assault charge when he was in high school. The gunman apparently lived with family members at this home in Arvada. According to his Facebook profile, he was born in Syria and came to the United States in 2002.
The killer, his name, that will live in infamy. But today, let us remember the victims.
The man accused of gunning down 10 innocent victims graduated Arvada West High School in 2018. A report by our partners at the Denver Post quotes one of his former wrestling teammates who said after losing a match, he immediately quit the team and yelled out in the wrestling room something like he was going to kill everybody.
Nothing can fill the void for the families and their loved ones, but I could promise you that we will hold him accountable.
We also reached out to several local law enforcement sources to see if this accused gunman has been on their radar. Everybody we talked to today said they were not aware of him, not tracking him in any way. Ann?
Tony KOVALESKI, thank you. And President Biden today expressed grief for the families of the 10 people killed. He also urged Congress to take action on gun control.
The United States Senate, I hope some are listening, should immediately pass the 2 House-passed bills that close loopholes in the background check system. These are bills that receive votes of both Republicans and Democrats in the House. This is not and should not be a partisan issue. This is an American issue. It will save lives, American lives, and we have to act. We should also ban assault weapons in the process.
And lawmakers on the state level are already taking up gun control measures again. Denver7's Megan Lopez has details.
Because what happens to Boulder happens to Colorado.
With flags half-staff and heavy hearts,
I requested a moment of personal privilege.
at the state capitol, a swell of speeches.
I don't want to know his name, and the why doesn't matter. It was wrong.
Because I don't want to be silent. The victims won't hear our silence.
In their words, anger that another tragedy has happened here.
Where are we safe in our community?
Then a call to action.
I don't think it's too soon to talk about policy or to talk about politics. For these 10 individuals, it's too late.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And 24 hours after a tragedy,
this is a bill.
a House committee continued its work on a bill to require people to report lost or stolen firearms,
This legislature to pass.
while another bill requiring safe storage of guns moved on to the Senate.
This is what gun violence looks like.
For Representative Tom Sullivan, who lost his son Alex in the Aurora Theater shooting,
We are making the progress. Singularly, any of those things you're not going to see a major difference maker in it. Collectively, that's where it happens.
Democrats say they're going to continue their work to push for meaningful reform and are calling on Republicans to help.
This isn't about taking your guns away. This is about making sure that we're creating a safer community for everyone.
That includes
the debates, the disagreements we've seen before.
I don't think these bills are going to make us any safer. They might make some people feel safer, but that in reality, I don't think that's going to happen.
He wants to see legislation that cracks down on criminals.
Because we are one community. It's not just Boulder.
Megan Lopez, Denver7.
I know right now it feels like we're in the state of almost perpetual flags at half-staff. People are hurting right now. And when people are hurting, you want to do something. You want to let off those feelings. You want to show support for those immediately affected. When, tragedy befalls somebody at church or something, you bring food. When tragedy befalls complete strangers, but strangers who make up your community, you do this, what we're seeing behind me. You go to where it happened. You bring flowers. You bring candles. You write signs. You bring balloons. You bring your family and you hug and you cry. This growing memorial here on Table Mesa at the King Soopers. It's quite a scene right now. Denver7's Patrick Perez continues our team coverage. And Patrick, you have some resources that I think we could all use right now when we're having a hard time.
Yeah, absolutely, Shannon. When stuff like this happens, we always ask ourselves, how can we help? How can we make the pain go away? We really can't, but we can help these families emotionally and financially, and in doing so, we can help our own mental health in dealing with all of this.
What happened in Boulder Monday afternoon will cause a lifetime of pain and grief for some, feelings Coloradans are far too familiar with.
Columbine and Aurora shooting and a couple of others.
And each time, Coloradans have stepped up to help.
One of the ways that people connect with that humanity is by saying, what can I do?
Robin Finnegan is with the Colorado Healing Fund. She says as early as Monday night, people had started donating to help the families of the King Soopers mass shooting victims.
It certainly can't bring people back. It can't heal your broken heart. But what it can do is provide resources so that you're not alone in this struggle.
The Colorado Healing Fund is just one of 3 official donation funds identified by Boulder County. The Colorado State Lodge Fraternal Order of Police and Community Foundation Boulder County are the other 2. And while making donations to these funds helps these families, it also often helps our mental health and how we process these tragedies.
Then there are the types of things where you don't feel like you have any control at all. And I think what happened in Boulder is a good example of that.
Dr. Carl Clark is the president and CEO of Mental Health Center of Denver. He says now, more than ever, is the time to take care of yourself.
Exercise, meditation, getting good sleep, talking to friends and family. Those are things that can be really helpful.
But don't be afraid to ask for help if you need to.
There's no shame in people saying, I was in that grocery store 5 minutes before this happened, and I am terrified by what happened.
And if you'd like to help out these families, we have links to all 3 of those funds right now on the denverchannel.com. Shannon?
Patrick Perez, very helpful stuff there, Patrick. We appreciate that. And Ann, I think we all in the coming days, I hope we all look for opportunities to say, what do you need? What can I do to help? Because there's a lot of people who are needing it right now, Ann.
And a lot of good people out there who really do want to help, Shannon. So true.
That's
so
right.
true. And this has been really the longest week in recent memory. It's only Tuesday. Families are hurting, hearts are broken. John Castillo feels this way every single day of his life. His son Kendrick died protecting his classmates at STEM School Highlands Ranch. And John knows what it's like to carry a loved one's legacy, and now the families of 10 other people will know that too.
And I'm here to tell you, as a surviving parent of this, I don't consider myself a victim. I don't want to be a victim, and I refuse to be. And I ask these young children and people, teachers who've been affected by this, to do the same. Hold your ground, advocate, get out there. A lot of people aren't happy with what some of my policies and thoughts are. That's fine. Create your own. But be a part of the solution and don't give up.